All right, we are live for another show of the Amazon Seller School. I appreciate everybody out there joining us for another week. We've got a lot of really good news coming out of, or interesting news, some good, some not so good, coming out of Amazon Accelerate. And we've got Stephen Pope from My Amazon Guy. And Kevin Sanderson from Maximizing E-commerce, as well as My Amazon Guy. So we've got a My Amazon Guy show going on here today.
It is. Mag's
didn't plan it, but just so happened to that way for the guests who are available. So I'm excited because you guys always are putting out really good information. So I'm interested, and I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in your guys' comments on a lot of these stories. So
I'm ready to bash AI. How about you?
Yes, 100%. I love it and also love to hate it. So lots of benefits, lots of negatives. But let's go ahead and dive into the first story. Not to do with Amazon Accelerate, but a pretty cool story nonetheless. Well, interesting anyways. So Temu now ranks as the world's #2 e-commerce site.
So is it Temu or Temu?
I always say Temu. I don't know.
And
I say Temu and
that's why
Shen. Some
I
people say Shine, Temu. I don't know.
All right, let us know in the comments, guys, what you guys think. Temu or Temu? I'm going Team Temu.
Temu, you think?
Yeah. Team Temu.
Well, I'm going with Temu. We'll see.
2-1.
Kind of like an emu. You know, you got emu, so Temu. I don't know. But in any case, Temu has quickly risen to become the world's second most visited e-commerce site, surpassing eBay in highlighting its rapid expansion strategy that could reshape competitive dynamics for Amazon sellers. The platform's massive traffic, largely driven by paid ads, which is an important point,
Dude, I've been getting so many paid ads on my mobile phone, right? Like I've been playing some mobile games every single day. Buy this thing that normally costs $30 on Amazon. We'll give it to you for $2.99, and China will ship it in 2 days somehow. And it's, paid for by the Chinese government. But yeah,
100%.
Temu, for sure. 100% growing and advertising everywhere.
Yes, I see their ads everywhere for sure, all the time. Super cheap prices and all that. So it's a question of how long they can keep that up. But
yeah.
Did
you hear about the kind of on that same note though? Did you hear that apparently there's tariffs set to hit Temu and Shein?
That's
we talked about that last week. It's always surprising when I'm giving a thumbs up to something Joe Biden does, but in my opinion, assuming they do it correct, right? That's always the question with the government. They rarely do things correctly. But in this case, it seems like they're on the right track for what they need to do by closing that tariff loophole. So we'll see.
The most terrifying words in the English language. I'm here from seller support and I'm here to help. I mean the government.
Yes. Okay, Ronald Reagan, channeling Ronald Reagan there for the new age. But in any case here, so despite Temu's impressive web's traffic stats, its actual sales and market impact remains smaller than Amazon's, but it's setting ambitious sales goals that aim to challenge Amazon's dominance in the US and Europe. This growth trajectory suggests that Amazon sellers may need to be prepared for intensified competition and market shifts as Temu continues to expand. So as we mentioned, majority of Temu's growth is due to it spending tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in ads and basically giving away free product, which you can't really keep up in perpetuity. I remember reading a story a while back that said Temu had spent in advertisement or lost in advertisement in 2 years what Amazon had lost in like 10 years growing its business. So it's pretty crazy the amount of ads that they're putting out there. And as Stephen Pope, you said that it's just your feed is just full of them. So what are your thoughts on this, Stephen, other than including the ads, but anything else?
So first thing I noticed, I just Googled it. How do you say Temu? And apparently I'm wrong and Todd is right. So I want to make sure we get that out there early. It's Temu, T-E-H, Mu. And so Todd, you win that one. So my thoughts are that I think it's a high risk of a flash pan. I think that it's possible that they're going to be the next Jet, and we're going to see them flash pan here for a couple of years and then just completely disappear. Right? You don't even see Jet on the top 20, let alone maybe even the top 50 at this point.
Yeah, Jet. No, it's not.
They're not even around.
And that's because Walmart bought them, integrated them, and then learned that they couldn't actually integrate anything, and they went away. And Jet had a similar early trajectory of spending a bunch of money on acquiring customers. They had a cool model where the more you ordered, the less your price was, which was in theory a smart business model. But here we are, not even on the list. And it could be, you know, if Blockbuster had bought Netflix, would Netflix exist today? It's the same question, which is what Walmart did to Jet. And in this case, we have a Chinese-based company with huge financial backing. And we've been in contact with the director of e-commerce. You know, we know some of their people. They have an opportunity here, right? And they're already in slot 2. So they're definitely making some waves right now. The question of tenure is really where I wonder if I can hang my hat, so to speak. And I don't know if they're going to be in the top 10 2 to 3 years from now. But right now, they are aggressive as heck. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because, you know, yes, that's fascinating that they shot up to number 2, but can they stay there, especially with tariffs coming in? Because their entire business model has kind of been this like arbitrage of get cheap goods from China and don't worry about the fact that you don't have to pay, you know, tariffs because of a certain loophole that only goes one way that the Chinese companies were benefiting from for small packages that they were able to kind of take advantage of. Whereas if that truly is going away, like we think it is, that totally changes the game for them. So now the economics are different. And I'm not necessarily someone that watches Saturday Night Live religiously, but I did see the other day a video, and it was the Saturday Night Live ad. I don't know how recent it was, but it was basically like making fun of Temu, Temu, whatever it is. I thought it was Temu.
I really did too, but it's Temu.
It's Temu. So Temu, they didn't call it that by name, but you knew exactly who they were making fun of. And that really what it came down to is that people were willing to look the other way on a lot of problems with it because of the prices being so low. So if the prices are no longer so low, then I think that's going to totally change the business. Yeah. What then? Really hurt. Yeah, because I think some people it's like, okay, I need this thing, and if I have to wait 3 weeks for it, but I can save, 60, 70% what I would save on Amazon, then why not? But if you save 20% from what you buy for something similar on Amazon, but you wait like an extra 3 weeks, why?
Might as well use subscribe 100%. And save on Amazon at that point.
Exactly. It takes away, and Amazon feels more reputable with the products that are on there. I don't just say that.
I bought something on TikTok Shop like 3 years ago, and it was a terrible experience. And it took 3 weeks, and then like it shows up, and I open the package, and it just like falls apart in front of me. And that was like the pure like definition of Chinesium. And so Temu is filled with Chinesium for sure. And some people are willing to take the risk. And with the hyperinflation that we have in the United States, I can't blame people for trying to save a buck. I really can't. Would I use the platform? No, I have not purchased anything on Temu so far. However, I did go to the Ecom North Toronto conference a couple weeks ago. And up in Toronto, I asked random people, I was like, hey, have you bought anything on there? And I was surprised. I ran into a lot of people who had. And so I think that the anecdotal evidence would suggest that the acquisition model is present, i.e., they're getting people to make a purchase. But the real question then comes, will they come back? Will they have a good enough experience to be a repeat buyer? And that's where I think the jury is out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're gonna have to wait 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever to get the product, then it's gonna have to be significantly discounted to be able to make it make sense versus paying a little bit more and just getting it on Amazon the same day or next day. And so that's the question with the closing of the loopholes. And now they're going to have to pay tariffs and taxes and have inspections on more of these products. is that going to be possible for them without losing a ton of money? And I believe from reading in the past, the return rate of customers on Temu is much lower than what it is on Amazon. So they're not necessarily
Amazon has the 10-year advantage. I mean, like when I say tenure, I mean like literally 10 hyphen like they have a lot of history to compete with.
Yeah. It's and plus the ads, right? They're spending, and the ads are, to be honest, are really good. I mean, they make these products look beautiful in the ads, but I can just imagine the letdown a lot of people have when they get
a hot 18-year-old woman to model them. So
yeah.
Who was American?
Yeah, well, I'm into fishing, so I see a lot of fishing ones, and they're pretty good.
Are they really micro targeting by category and getting you that way? Like I've seen the generic one, but for them to hit you with fishing, interesting.
Yeah, mostly on Facebook. If I jump on there and scrolling through family photos or whatnot,
they got you on the groups, hitting you on the Facebook groups.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, they're doing great work on advertising. I think if anything, people can look at Temu and what they've done to grow in their advertising model and use that as a potential example to grow an e-commerce business to possibly compete with Amazon or maybe grow your brand or whatever, so maybe it's a major lesson in marketing, but the question is how long they can sustain it and what it'll look like after they're done with spending the hundreds of millions in ads.
So here's my question. Okay. So if Shopify and Amazon were enemies 2 or 3 years ago, and now they're friends because the enemy of my enemy is now my friend, right? Now we have TikTok and Temu, who are both butting heads against Amazon. What is more likely? Will Amazon team up with TikTok to beat Temu, or will TikTok and Temu team up to beat Amazon? I don't know which of the two is more likely, but I think one of those two things is possible.
I would bet it's going to be TikTok and Amazon, because TikTok's under pressure to divest from China.
Correct.
So at least there's a perception of they're divested if they're at least working with a U.S. company that creates kind of a little bit of an alliance. And then also, really TikTok depends on having all these U.S. based influencers or influencers around the world, but not necessarily, Chinese influencers, trying to influence U.S. people. So I think they want to create more of a U.S. based presence, whereas Temu doesn't really care. Like, hey, we're just basically shipping it from China, buy it here and get it cheap.
I mean, Google bought YouTube, so it's not unprecedented for a behemoth to buy another behemoth.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. And another question I have is, you heard Amazon. I haven't really heard much about this lately, but a couple months ago, Amazon announced that they were basically creating their own Temu of direct from China products.
I did hear a little bit, but I don't expect that to take off.
I feel like that's probably gone crickets, mostly due to the talk about closing that loophole, because Amazon, I'm sure, was going to take advantage of that as well for those cheap prices. And so that's kind of probably moved that on the back burner. Hence the partnership with TikTok, perhaps pushing them that direction.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Well, and we've got the forced either sale or shutdown of TikTok coming up. I'm trying to find the date, but it's coming up here in the next couple of months when that court trial starts. And with Amazon, like you said, partnering with them, either they're looking to buy TikTok perhaps, or TikTok is trying to, and they have been, this is known, that they're trying to get in bed with USA businesses and customers as much as possible to embed themselves to try to make it politically not possible.
Speaking of politics, January 19th is the court date. So
is it? Okay.
Yeah. So they're going to wait until right after a potential switch in politics.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see if TikTok has said that they're not willing to sell to a U.S. company, but money talks in a lot of these situations. So it could be interesting. Amazon tries to buy them, or maybe TikTok does something where They partner with Amazon. They bring all of their servers to AWS inside of the USA, and promise that, hey, we're not going to spy on anybody. We promise.
Or
And,
TikTok gets bought
politicians are
by
like,
a
okay.
Wyoming company located on Gold Street in Wyoming, Sheridan, Wyoming. That's really just a post office box.
Yes. One of those 20 shell companies with 100 bank accounts things going on.
No, it's legit. It's legit.
Yeah, of course. The other interesting thing on here, just because Shine and Temu are so often talked about, Temu or Shine, is just below outside of the top 20. Honestly, with all the talk of them, I would have thought they were higher, but they are not inside the top 20 yet. So they're even below Amazon, Italy, France, and Canada. So
Amazon Canada is basically the state size of New York. So that gives you kind of an idea of the geopolitics or the geo of Amazon.
Yeah, I think Shine is in a better situation than Temu, though, because they've built such a reputation on clothing, and clothing people don't necessarily care as much about, super high quality if it's just a t-shirt or a sundress or something that you're going to throw on and wear for a few months, and then it goes in the closet and maybe you never wear it again.
Well, all I know is I spend all of my money creating mag t-shirts. So,
and I'm wearing one of them.
We have a contest at my Amazon guy where we just let them build their own t-shirts and then we ship them out worldwide. And it's a little bit of a logistics headache, not going to lie, with 550 employees, but around the world. Sure. You won't see me shopping on Shine anytime soon because I'm wearing mag shirts every day. And I buy that like nice, silky, smooth, like comfortable t-shirt.
It is comfortable.
Yep. Yeah, either way, it's going to be interesting to see. The other absence I just noticed on here, TikTok Shop obviously is not on there in the top 20 either. So,
which is surprising considering how much you would have thought it was doing better than it is. But maybe they
a lot of hype.
It's so new.
A lot of hype taking advantage of their social platform, I think, to spread the news, but maybe not as much buying going on.
They don't really have like a full year of shopping. Push.
That's true. So maybe
even
we'll
though I bought something
through
it 3 years ago, they like 3 years ago you wouldn't have heard about it. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Sure. All right. Well, let's switch gears here and dive into some Amazon Accelerate news. So this first one here, Amazon's AI-driven title changes, a risky move for sellers. So this is coming out of the Amazon Accelerate conference, and Brandon Young posted this, but it's kind of all over LinkedIn right now. And basically it is showing that Amazon's AI, which they're rolling out again to dynamically change titles of products depending on the customer. So they'll be tailored to the customer. Live on stage, it used a trademarked term when it created this listing for pink aviator sunglasses for women. And aviator is a trademark of Ray-Ban, I believe it is.
So we looked it up. The trademark is Ray-Ban aviator. So it's not just the word aviator trademarked. Having said that, I think that the use case or the perception of the presentation stands wholeheartedly, right? Like, do you trust Amazon, even if they say to your face, hey, trust our AI, we will never yank your product for a term AI suggests? If they have that statement out there, would you trust them? And I can confidently tell you right now, I would not. And that's what Amazon sellers have gone through for the last decade, where Amazon is shoot first, ask questions later, yank your product. Here's a lost dog. Amazon's waiting list to take photos of the dogs in their Seattle office is 12 months long because there's so many yanked listings on Amazon, right? Like it's unfathomable that they thought this was going to be a good idea. And then for the perception of a trademark term right on stage, I just thought it was fitting, right? And obviously this is a big talker, and I shot my own piece about this yesterday, and it's really taken off. Very popular, talkable topic right now. But here's my response to Amazon with this announcement. I can confidently tell you that AI was not on the top 100 requests of Amazon sellers. And I can confidently tell you that the number one request of Amazon sellers is functional seller support. So instead of rolling out AI for titles, why in the world would you give us bad AI when all we need is just good seller support? And
100%.
quite frankly, you could have just used AI for seller support. That would have been way better. Way better. More copy pasta.
You know, I do like using AI in this kind of way, but it should not be used for brands that are already doing the optimization of the listings. This should be used for garbage listings, you know, pretty much all the listings that Amazon retail sells on. And, you know, they got like a 3-word title and no
100%.
bullet points, no description, one blurry photo. Go ahead, work your magic with AI, make the title and everything better. But if a brand has spent potentially years, possibly countless man hours optimizing their title, their bullets, descriptions, images, to then go ahead and just start swapping that out just feels like a slap in the face to a lot of sellers.
I think it's a terrible idea, wholeheartedly.
I have a feeling it's they're going to back off on this one too, just because, you know,
I don't think they're going to back off. I think they're drinking the Kool-Aid.
I wonder, like, is it going to be like just automatically that the bot comes in and decides like, oh, okay, ours is better.
They did signal that you can opt out of it, but if you don't opt out, it will automatically update your stuff.
Okay,
which is terrifying.
Where's that screen where we can opt out?
Yeah. And then if you ask 100 random Amazon sellers right now, do you know how to opt out? I bet you 1 or 0 of them would know. Like, nobody knows.
Yeah. And it's like, what was it not too long ago? The automated shipping settings where Amazon was changing your settings to basically automatically change the days that it takes you to ship.
We'll destroy it after 7 days.
Yeah, and people were turning that off, but then it was automatically turning back on magically.
Or what about the time that Amazon automatically changed your return address back to the original return address, and then randomly warehouses from 10 years ago were getting your stuff again? Yeah. So I love opt-out Amazon automated changes. They're so amazing. They're always so good. And Amazon has my goodness in their heart at all times. I mean, like, I can't believe how much Amazon helped me grow my business this year. That's what every Amazon seller feels like right now.
Yeah. And I sense no sarcasm in your tone at all, Stephen. No.
They did help Mag grow.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's be clear. I've become a millionaire because of Jeff Bezos. Fact. I can still bite Jeff Bezos's hand as often as I want when they have bad policies. No problem.
And we should. I mean, and everyone should be able to do that without any kind of fear of, you know, a lot of people are afraid to speak out. I think less and less so as more people do. But it used to be people were just afraid to say anything bad about Amazon on social media for fear that they'd get their account shut down.
I think that fear still exists.
I think it could definitely happen if you catch the attention of the wrong person.
I can also tell you that if you become an influencer and start talking about your own brand, that it will attract attention. Case example, my Tumblr business, which was a parody business, which is totally legal, received 0 trademark infringements, but on Black Friday last year, completely shut it down. And that's because I had a super fan out there who really adored me and reported my entire segment to Amazon and destroyed the segment. There's no parody Tumblrs anymore on Amazon.
Yeah, that's definitely a risk. I mean, if you put yourself out there, unfortunately, there's going to be those trolls on the internet that somehow just live their entire life to try to destroy other people. It's a very strange way of living, but there are a lot of people out there like that.
I like to call them super fans.
Super fans? Yeah. Well, I don't think, I think there's a book called Super Fans by Pat Flynn. So I don't think he'd like that too much.
Yeah, I've read that one.
Yeah, it's a good book. So probably not super fans. I don't think that he would like too much, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that out there, and they're just around to make people's lives difficult. But AI, it's you know, it's here to stay. It's definitely not going to go anywhere. So the question is Amazon going to mess it up? And some people were talking about
if Amazon's going to mess it up, when Amazon is going to mess it up
for sure. But one thing that people were saying is that, you know, because people were worried that if Amazon is going to do this and change the title for people, but they're saying it's going to be tailored by customer, that means they're probably not changing the content in the back end. They're just manipulating it when it's served to the customer. So perhaps it won't affect the CO that you've set up and done already. That'll still be there, but it will just change the title and such for the customer trying to improve click-through rates, conversions, whatever.
I think there's a high risk. Like I just don't trust Amazon at all. And I think that Amazon sellers don't trust Amazon, that they've never been given a reason to trust Amazon. I mean, like if we went and polled 100 random Amazon sellers right now and I said, hey, why do you trust Amazon? I think you would get blank stares.
Yeah.
Like I really do.
100%. Yeah. This isn't one of the news articles, but it was pretty cool to see Martha Stewart on stage speaking and then beating up Amazon for high seller fees.
Oh, I did hear about that. What did she say?
She just basically just said that, you know, Amazon seller fees are too high. I haven't watched the video. I've just seen people talking about it, but she brought up that fees are too high, making prices higher on Amazon.
I mean, she's right. It's definitely, there is a consumer effect to all of these fees that have been added on this year. I mean, it's a lot. And going back to the AI, let's just say Amazon, you know, they've got smart people and they roll this out well and they do everything perfectly on their end with AI. But then now you're giving it over to Hal, you know, from 2001 Space Odyssey to just decide, you know, oh, this title should be this or this. And so, you know, the problem is that I foresee is, you know, whether it's trademark infringement or it makes a claim, you know, even if you tell the AI, don't make claims, don't use trademark terms, it's still going to at some point, you know, they call it a hallucination. Then you're going to have another AI bot coming in and be like, oh, well, this is against terms of service. And then now
that's the bot I trust.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the bot that I know exists because I live it every single day when I'm reinstating listings for my customers. Like everybody who's listening to this has had a listing yanked by Amazon for, quite frankly, a retarded reason. And Amazon needs to get out of that.
Yeah, it's and what's the most annoying, I mean, it's annoying that it happens, but what the most annoying is typically you have like no idea why it was taken down. So you're pretty much just remove everything from the listing and then put things up one at a time until you figure out what took the listing down. I'm dealing with that right now with a listing with the images. If I put the images, we had the images up and then all of a sudden it got taken down. So I just put one main image, it goes back live, and then I load the other images and it goes back down. So something in one of the images is triggering the AI.
Don't you love that Amazon told you explicitly what you did wrong and that you
it
had
would
to
be
spend
nice.
time guessing and trying to figure out which policy you violated, even though you probably actually didn't violate a policy, but they think you did.
Yeah.
That's what it's like to be an Amazon seller.
Yeah. And what's really annoying is that when it doesn't take the listing down, but it removes our images and puts back these like old blurry images that someone had posted on the listing previously. It's like, yeah, smart. And it's just annoying.
What a great customer experience. And Amazon is the most customer-centric company in the world, and they care deeply about customers.
Yeah. Not to mention this is the same one we've had two hijackers on now, and since the trademark is still pending, Amazon refuses to do anything unless they deliver a product to us, which is like a month out. So very annoying.
Because they're drop shipping some fake product out of Temu, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. The previous hijacker that was on there that got taken down has been replaced by another one, but the feedback from them was one of the feedback that they had basically said they received some generic piece of junk. So that's essentially what we're doing. sometime in
all
October,
know.
we'll receive it and be able to take them down. But in the meantime, Amazon is just allowing their customers to get scammed for a whole month and trying to ruin, this client's brand. So
God bless the Chinese hijackers. They're so kind to us.
yeah, it's very immoral. That is for sure. But what are you going to do? Fight back in however you can. All right, let's take a look at the next piece of news here. So another piece of news from Amazon Accelerate, and just keep in mind all of these numbers in here are coming from Amazon. We've got no confirmation they're true, but Amazon says their fully managed supply chain service boosts seller sales by 20%. Amazon has launched a fully managed supply chain service that simplifies seller operations and increases delivery speed, leading to an average 20% boost in sales conversions. Sellers can now leverage Amazon's logistics, warehousing, and transportation services to streamline product movement from factories to customers more efficiently. With features like multi-channel distribution and discounted AWD rates, which is Amazon warehousing and distribution, they're
legit
3PL
actual discounts. This is true.
Very good discounts. They are very good. This service reduces inventory needs by 20%, supposedly, preventing stockouts and saving on capital. For Amazon sellers, the new fully managed option provides a game-changing solution for scaling their business without the burden of complex supply chain management. So,
do you think they
a lot of hyperbole there?
Oh, they totally did.
So
the images are AI.
Was it the game-changing keyword that cued us in? Every AI post ever. Remember the last game-changing unlock keyword.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of hyperbole in this. Obviously, this is coming
This
from
is a logistics
Amazon.
company, though. A logistics company putting out logistics news. I have to say, of all the things we talked about today, this is the most believable.
Yeah.
Although the 20% increase in conversion rate, I have a trouble.
I believe that one too. Here's why. What's the number one rule about selling on Amazon?
Don't run out of inventory.
Don't run out of stock. What happens to every Amazon seller? They run out of stock. So increasing your sales by 20% on an annual basis by not running out of stock, actually believable. And let's add to the fact that Amazon's other terrible policies, restock limits, and the slow check-in times during Q4 exasperate this problem of causing stockouts. So if you trust them with the end-to-end, and I kind of do in this case, this is one of the rare times where I'll put my neck out and say, I do trust Amazon with logistics. Wow. They're a logistics company. They're a logistics company that happens to be a marketplace, right? Just like Mag, my Amazon guy, is an education company that happens to be an agency. So it's a believable thing. Obviously there's horror stories out there with Amazon losing container loads and slow check-in times. And there's all we could stack the complaints and all of those things would be legitimate. But at the end of the day, Amazon does have the best logistics in the entire world. There's nobody that can touch them on this. And they get stuff from point A to point B faster than anybody else. So I do think that this is probably legit. And I would absolutely, with my own products, test supply chain by Amazon 100%.
Yeah. So
you heard it here, folks.
Yeah. With my new company that we started, Amazon Storage Pros, this is basically what we're helping people with logistics. So I can back up, Stephen, what you said, especially about AWD. The discounts on there are quite substantial, especially since you can avoid the Amazon placement fees completely by sending to AWD and using AWD to restock Amazon FBA. So what they have set up there is very good. AWD has come a long way in the last, I would say, few months, 3 to 6 months. So it's come a long way. It's working relatively well. AGL is the other part where they're actually bringing the products from China or Vietnam or wherever over to Amazon FBA or AWD. That part is, in our experience and other people's experience that we've talked to, is kind of back and forth. Typically, you don't have as much control as you do by using a third party to do this, and the rates for it are competitive, but not always the cheapest. So that part of it, I think, needs a little bit more work. But inside the USA, they're getting very competitive. And, I was talking with somebody yesterday, and people are, afraid, which I think they have a reason to be, to put all their eggs with Amazon. But the good thing with logistics, unlike selling on Amazon.com, is that it would be easier to move away from Amazon logistics to a 3PL and third party freight carriers and such like that than it is to try to find a new place to replace your sales on Amazon.com.
True.
You're muted, Stephen.
Significantly, yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting that, this is basically just a move for Amazon to take this market away from freight brokers and third-party logistics and 3PLs and such, and bring it all in-house and control the entire thing from the manufacturer all the way to the customer.
So I want to rephrase what you said there just slightly, because I think we were in alignment, but I don't think they're trying to take away from anybody. I think they're just trying to build vertical control. And we've seen this in every market historically, whether it was oil, cars, railroad, building a monopoly. Amazon is a monopoly. Let's establish that. We'll never see this monopoly broken up, though, because the government, the CIA and Alexa, they kind of fund that. So, but we won't go there. We won't go there. But we can say this: it's an obvious monopoly, and anybody that disagrees with that, then I don't know how you can decipher the fact that Amazon is literally half our economy, indirectly, if not otherwise. So Amazon is just taking full vertical control of logistics end to end. And it makes sense for their model. They've always been trying to do this. If you look back and you read Jeff Bezos's mission statements, this is on target. This is always where they were heading. Highly predictable outcome here.
Yeah, and it's definitely something worth trying. But don't burn your bridges, obviously, with the people that you're using now. If you have a good freight broker that you're using already, and you have a 3PL that you're using already, I would maybe minimize
there. Like, do you think it's not just a commodity business, lowest rate wins?
Well, what I'm saying is, if instead of moving 100% over to Amazon, maybe move 90% over to Amazon, keep some at those other places so that you have those accounts open, relationships there still, so you can move things back over there. If Amazon decides, hey, we've got enough of the market now, let's double our prices or something like that.
I got you. But I think it's a commodity business, so I don't think there's much risk here.
Now, the one question I do have with this is for like the end-to-end supply chain by Amazon service. Is that just from like basically, let's say, factory to Amazon, or are you able to also do like your fulfillment for off Amazon through this? Or are you able to do, and when I say fulfillment for off Amazon, for like bigger sellers that are maybe on Walmart or Target.com, and they're not allowed to ship in Amazon boxes, and they need it to go to another 3PL, are you able to siphon off some of your inventory, or is it basically once it's in their control, they control the whole thing up until it gets to the customer's door?
My understanding is you can cipher off direct inventory, but I don't know if it's possible through this specific program. Right.
Got it.
You have to create two. So if you were shipping within the states into FBA, and then whatever, I don't even know what they call the non-FBA program, to be honest, but you have to create
AWD.
Yeah. So to ship something over to Walmart in a non-Amazon box, which Walmart has a huge problem with, huge problem. They don't want that at all.
I could imagine.
And they'll ban your Walmart account lickety split. I got a suspension for it one time myself.
Yeah, me too.
Oops.
It's so yeah, to answer your question, Kevin, if you're using AWD, they will send to other locations than FBA. But everything that goes into and out of AWD has to be case packs. Right. And they're not willing to put any additional labels on other than the shipping label, obviously. So you could say send, 20 cases somewhere. But if you're sending it to Walmart, Walmart's going to want those box
Their
labels
Walmart
on
labels.
it.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're not willing to do that yet. We do think that's probably coming because they do want to control that part of the supply chain as well. But right now you can't.
It would make sense that eventually they go that way, because if you think about it, like a lot of this stuff that they're doing is they want as much information as possible, like the whole buy with Prime, like through Shopify. It's not just for convenience and to make the customer experience easier. It's they want the data, like what is selling off Amazon on all these platforms, and how do we get all this data, and and who knows what other data they get even besides when people actually click the button. Like they probably are getting all kinds of other information on people's Shopify stores. So that was a way for them to find out.
Yeah, collecting data for sure.
Speaking of data,
why not? Yeah.
Google and Amazon had a little row, and Amazon stopped showing its shipment information in its shipping alert emails because they didn't want Google to have that data as well. Because Amazon is Google's number one competitor. A lot of people don't think about that, but the number one place to start searching for a product about 5 years ago changed from Google over to Amazon. And we may see that shift again. It may shift over to some AI platform. And that's probably why Amazon is over indexing on AI and why everybody and their dogs is over indexing on AI right now. But it's because they see that search engine won't even exist in 5 years from now, right? Like Google search won't exist.
I honestly find myself doing that a lot. Like, in the past, if I had a question or something that I wanted to answer, I would just hold down the button on my Android and say, hey, how many or whatever, how
many milliliters are in a gallon?
Yes. And Google will come back sometimes and give you an answer, but a lot of times it will show you web pages. And at this point, I just jump over to Chat GPT and hit the chat button and ask it a question. It tells me the answer. And it's a lot faster, a lot easier than trying to do it through Google right now.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting, the adoption on that long term, because I think most people are not savvy to Chat GPT and all these other platforms like Perplexity. We sometimes talk about Perplexity as like being this like, oh, it could be another, Google. Like I think it was Neil Patel was talking on his show about like the number of visitors, and it's something like 53 million visitors a month, which is good, but nothing in terms of like, the billions that like Google gets. So it's a fraction.
Yeah. And Google can very easily start doing that right through their chat on the Android or wherever. It's just they have kind of a battle though, because they want to show search results and give people clicks, but they also need to satisfy the customers.
Right, exactly. Their entire business model is getting you on that search results page and looking at ads and clicking them.
And I find myself less and less going there to do that. I find myself a lot more going to Chat GPT and asking questions, at least, simple questions and such, to get them answered. So it's a shift for sure. That's going to be happening. Regardless.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see like who's still around. Like, I think back to like, 99, 2000, 2001, you would see billboards for like InfoSeek and, Yahoo was the big one.
What was the dog one? I forget, Lucas or something. I forget.
Oh yeah. There were, I'm trying to remember. There was.
Now I'm going to Google this. I'm going to use AI instead of Google it.
What
were the original search engines? And I'm asking Perplexity.ai.
InfoSeek was the one that I used back in the day.
Archie,
there was Go. Disney bought Go.
Well, Disney bought InfoSeek and changed it to Go.
Wandex,
oh, that's right. That's what it was. Disney made it Go.com. I remember when they did that. I was like, Go.
Lycos.
That was the dog, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Alta Vista 95. And then Yahoo mid 1990s. They don't have a specific year. And then Ask Jeeves came out in 96.
Yeah.
So if you used any of those, you might be a millennial or older.
Yes, we're showing our age right now. If you know those search engines, except for Yahoo, most people know Yahoo still. But
does anybody
the other
use
ones,
Yahoo?
Alta Vista, you're probably in your 40s.
Grandpa uses Yahoo for sure.
Mm.
But Ask Jeeves in junior high, I remember sitting around those computers, you know, in class, messing around with Ask Jeeves and asking stupid questions as a junior high young boy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm dating myself even more so here. I remember Kirk Cameron was in this made for TV movie. It was apparently like a remake of something from like the 60s, where basically he was at the computer lab at his college and it was struck by lightning, and somehow all the information from the internet like went into his brain. And
I do remember the movie, but I don't know Kurt's name.
Okay, yeah. So Kirk Cameron was the star. It might have been like the last mainstream thing he did, but basically the point of it was, and this was maybe 93 or 94, was that there's good information on the internet, but you can't trust it. You got to trust reliable sources like books, which
we all know
no longer is that the thought.
Just, you can't trust anything. Verify.
Exactly.
I hate this era of the internet. It's the worst era. Bring me back to the free anything goes Wild West internet. I sign me up for that any day.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely miss the 90s for that reason alone. But time marches forward. We're going to keep going.
Exactly.
Real quick, back on the news, Kevin, I just looked it up, and the AGL, Amazon's Global Logistics, which is what they use to bring your inventory into the United States, you are able to ship to other locations than Amazon. So if you needed it to go to a 3PL or something like that, you could do that. Again, you probably couldn't go right to Walmart unless you had maybe your manufacturer put the Walmart labels on there.
But then you're also trusting that Amazon takes, for this particular SKU, send these boxes to Amazon. These boxes go to AGL, unless you had a unique SKU or something. You'd have to have some differentiator. Otherwise, I could see that getting screwed up.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's jump over to the last piece of news here.
I'm super surprised that Buy with Prime is up 45%. That is an insane stat.
Is it up 45%? Yeah.
That's what it says.
Oh, yeah, right there at the top. Yes. Well, if I read the news, we'd know that. Another piece of news from Amazon Accelerate. Buy with Prime. Amazon has announced significant enhancements to its Buy with Prime and Amazon multi-channel fulfillment services, aiming to improve the way sellers manage their operations and reach customers. The biggest part of the upgrade is integration with PayPal. So you'll be able to buy with Prime using PayPal. So that's cool. And then this has already kind of been out there, but you also are going to use Buy with Prime with TikTok ads, and then also with Google shopping ads. So they're putting Buy with Prime all over the place, and they claim that now it serves over 200,000 US merchants. And it says these enhancements are designed to help Amazon sellers increase their visibility and sales across multiple channels, not just on Amazon.com, by leveraging Amazon's extensive fulfillment network. The announcement was made at Amazon Accelerate. So, yeah, another article about basically Amazon trying to kind of expand outside of its own world and be, everything and everywhere. There's another company that has a slogan like that. I forget what it is, but be everything to everyone, essentially, is what Amazon is trying to do.
The everything store.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you look at their model and you look at other people's models, I mean, even my Amazon guy, we're an everything shop for everything Amazon sellers. I mean, it is possible. I think Amazon does a pretty good job at being a logistics company. I think they do a really good job at being a marketplace. They also happen to be an entertainment business, although we could complain about how good or bad season 2 of, the Ring show is, but they spent several $1 billion. So, they're an entertainment company. They also are a music company. They also are a gaming company. They bought Twitch. So they are a juggernaut. If we were going to look at the 4 biggest, most influential companies in the United States, if not the world, Amazon would be my number one choice, 100%. I think a company like Apple is on that top 4, but I also think Apple's the most likely to be pushed out of the top 4. We could also make a case for Microsoft. It's got a little bit of a resurgence, Team Chat and other Excel products and its own AI adoption. Yeah. Who else would you guys put up there in the top 5 most influential companies?
That's interesting.
Oh, boy.
Maybe Tesla
Facebook used to be, but
yeah,
I mean,
Amazon, Google, Apple, Android. I mean, that's part of Google. But
that's Google. Yeah,
Android is pretty influential.
Google needs to be on there for sure.
Yeah, and Microsoft still, because a majority of work is still done on Windows computers. So.
Could NVIDIA make a case? I mean, if they had the most valuable stock market in the entire world, surpassing Apple, you could make a case, but I don't know for sure. I mean, with AI, maybe they'll become, inevitable with all of the AI processing power requirements.
It could. I mean, NVIDIA is more of a back end company, right? So normal people are not going to know NVIDIA necessarily. But yeah, I mean, they power pretty much everything with AI, anything to do with graphics cards and processors and stuff like that now, which it has been an amazing change from the not too distant past, where Intel basically controlled everything. And I was an NVIDIA person from the beginnings. I was a fanboy of them back in the 90s. But yeah, they are definitely have a big influence in the marketplace, but at the same time, Amazon is talking about competing with them now. So we'll see where that goes.
Well, what'll be interesting is, like, remember a month or two ago, there was the problem at the airports because Cloudflare, something like that, pushed out a update, and oops, it didn't work right. And so like they couldn't get the planes out.
CrowdStrike, I think it was.
CrowdStrike. Okay. Yep. Whatever that company was. And that's not a company most people, including myself, had probably never heard of prior to that. How many other little companies like that have the potential to be super influential that we don't know about? Or this buy with Prime, if it messes up, does it just the button looks funny on the page, or does it mess up like the whole system eventually? Right now, it probably just looked funny on the page, but eventually is it going to go to a part where it really messes things up?
Yeah, I mean, there are a ton of companies, back-end companies that you don't really hear about. For example, Apache. Are you guys familiar with Apache, the web server?
Oh, yeah, way back end, like a lot of the language and like servers and stuff is on Apache, right?
Yeah, it's a web serving software, and essentially about 30 to 40% of all websites run on Apache software. So, I mean, right there, if Apache went down, 40% of your websites disappear from the internet. So that's a pretty influential company that most people have never heard of. And now it is an open source company, so you'll never see them on the stock market or in the big news and stuff unless something goes wrong, really. But, it's a very influential company.
Definitely. Oh, Steven, you're muted.
Second time I've done that. All right. I was checking on the streams to see, how they look on the other places. So I didn't want to have sound at the same time and cause a loop. Have you guys used Buy with Prime? I've used it. I had a good experience. Have you guys used it?
Maybe.
I don't think I have. No, I mean.
Okay. When was the last time you bought something from a website?
Not a third party platform like Amazon or Walmart. Huh?
All right. So
my wife does it a lot more than me. We get random packages from websites for stuff like health related stuff and things
had a
like
furniture delivery today. So yeah, that happens. But I personally have not bought anything outside of Amazon's ecosystem this year, maybe in the last 5 years. Not accounting for like food, right? But outside of that, I can't think of a single thing.
They make it so convenient.
It's just so easy. And I know I'm overpaying, and I just don't care, like the convenience and the returns and all that. Average conversion rate on Amazon, 10%. And on a website, it's between 1% and 2%. So like, why would I want to type my credit card number into another platform? But with Buy with Prime, I would be tempted to buy from somebody's website if I cared about their brand. But Kevin, so if you can share, what did you buy yesterday off the website? Hopefully not on the dark web.
No, nothing.
I know what you're buying in secret, Kevin.
Buying
no, I'm
social
sure you do.
security numbers.
No, it was a couple of like tumblers like this.
All right, and
it was on a crafting website.
A crafting website. Okay, was it like an Etsy type deal, or was it a legitimate like mainstream website?
I think it was like called Maker Flow or something like that.
Did they have a Buy with Prime badge anywhere on the site?
I don't remember seeing it. And it's probably going to be one of those things that it's like, like that car that suddenly you see everywhere. I will probably start seeing Buy with Prime everywhere.
You'll see the badge.
Yeah.
Now, does it? What's really the advantage to the shop owner? Is it just it's another way for people to buy?
2-day shipping on your website, and you don't have to touch the product yourself. Like, why wouldn't you? You still get the customer data, and it takes away every excuse that somebody has as a D2C brand to use Amazon.
Yeah. I mean,
so how do you get charged?
Already had that, right? You had the 2-day shipping. Well, you're supposed to using the MCF, even though a lot of times
it's not reliable though.
The biggest thing with Buy with Prime is that
it's guaranteed.
They can use their credit card that's already in Amazon. And you also have the customer confidence factor that gets added in by having that Amazon logo there. People feel more confident buying from you.
Yeah.
I think that'll take your 1 to 2% conversion rate and push it up. Maybe not 10%, but much closer.
3-4%. That doubles it,
Yeah. But as we mentioned earlier, what data are you all giving to Amazon? Because a lot of that data is then being pushed over in Amazon's ecosystem as well. So, you got to keep that in mind. I don't know what negative effects that could have, but there could be something.
I know that there's a whole ecosystem of Shopify store owners who want nothing to do with Amazon. And I wonder if some of them are starting to get more friendly to Amazon with just the idea of like, okay, if this gets me more sales, but then you're still having to ship in stuff to Amazon's warehouse in order to fulfill for Buy with Prime, right?
Correct. Yeah. They fulfill from your stock in FBA, just like you're shopping on Amazon's website.
I think it's worth having on your D2C site. I put it on mine. I would recommend brands listening to this put it on theirs. It's going to help your conversion rate. And Todd asked a legitimate question. What about my data? In a society filled with AI and government overreach, which we won't comment on, there is no control of data. Like your data is gone. It's toast. Like any of your D2C data, I guarantee you everybody has it already. I guarantee Amazon is in league with Stripe and PayPal and all these other companies, and they're all sharing your data anyway.
Yeah.
So
Shopify.
Yeah, there's no question. So
when you scroll through that agreement and you hit agree, it's in there somewhere that they're sharing your data to brokers. So
in plain English.
I think that you just have to embrace the double of the conversion rate. I talk a lot about on Amazon how it's 7 times easier to double your traffic than it is to double your conversion rate. Well, on D2C, we have here something that you could install in less than 30 minutes that will double your conversion rate. That's a compelling case. That's really compelling.
Yep. Now, I haven't played with it myself, but it sounds like you have, Stephen. So do you know, is that Buy with Prime badge smart enough to not show itself if you were out of stock in Amazon?
Yeah, it is. It's legit. Okay. Like I have no complaints about the program. And I'm a first guy to complain about Amazon programs. So it's legit.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I mean, I honestly would put it on my site as well. It's take the increased conversion, like you said, and the increased confidence. I mean, Amazon is just a brand that people trust now. They've spent billions of dollars to build that reputation, and why not take advantage of it if you can, if you already got the inventory there.
All right. So here's my favorite litmus test to test this out. So since we already asked Kevin what he bought recently, let's ask you, Todd. Todd, what was the last item you bought on Amazon, if you can share?
A couch, actually, a recliner, I should say, for our baby's room.
What was the name of the brand?
No idea.
Exactly. So
I know it
Amazon
was a USA brand, though. I made sure of that.
Yeah, you saw the badge, but that was the extent, right? Like you're like pro Patriot US, but beyond that, you didn't care which US based company, right?
Correct. Yes.
And so that's what Amazon has done. It has killed brand recognition. Now, a lot of people listening to this right now, they'll be like, but Apple and household brand name ABC, and you'd be right? It didn't kill luxury brands. It just killed average day Joe brands. And I think that's a compelling fact. And then, if somebody ever gets the brand name correct, I always follow it up with what was the name of the seller, and nobody ever gets that one. But it's always fun to see how like Amazon has killed brand recognition. So it's commoditized the branding perception and the play, which is also why we like to talk a lot about main images and some of the other things that Amazon sellers have to go do, because their only branding implications are now in the search engine. They're not in the customer journey like they were 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would agree for a majority of products, for sure. I mean, there might be some out there where people end up trusting a brand more, and so you repeatedly buy from them. There are some brands that I'll do that for, fishing brands and stuff like that, if I'm looking for a particular thing. But yeah, I mean, you're right. There's a lot of brands out there. I primarily look to try to buy from a brand that's based in the United States and, has some information and looks nice. The brand name sounds nice. But as far as remembering it, yeah, majority of the time I do not. Unless I go back and I'm like, I know there was that one brand that I liked that thing. So let me look up and see what it was. So I can
Well,
see
you don't remember the name of the brand. You just go to your order history.
Correct. And then I click to their store and see if they got something else that was good, because I know their one product was good.
That's exactly what most people do. And Amazon knows that. So what do? When you search that generic keyword in search, they'd be like, hey, you purchased this back in 2018. Would you like to purchase it again? Why, yes, I would. I would love to have 6 pairs of Tevas in my house, or Keens. and that's actually reality in my house. I buy exclusive Keen sandals, and I took them to my Columbia Lost City trek. I hiked 80 miles in sandals, and I'd get lots of, I really did. I love it. And I've been doing it since I was age 12. And I get lots of comments all the time. But while I was on this 80-kilometer uphill both ways, literally, they call it Columbian Flats, but this is what a Columbian flat is. Like, it's just up and down nonstop. And it's so tiring. And your knees are like, God forbid. But anyway, so I get all these comments, and I'm like, but I look at this guy who's walking in front of me a few people ahead, and I'm like, but that dude's barefoot. You're giving me comments about my sandals, and that dude is doing this entire 80 kilometers barefoot. Yeah. And they'll be like, yeah, I tried to talk to that guy and he won't talk. So
I could imagine
that dude was having like a sabbatical of sorts. I don't even know. Didn't say a word the whole trek, but he was like kind of in my group, but kind of not, so it was weird. Anyway, but that's the sort of loyalty Amazon has created. I'll spend an extra $20 buying the same pair of sandals 2 years later on Amazon, because I know I can get a return. I know I get it in 2 days. So that's the power of the Amazon brand, which is a trade-off for the power of your own brand.
Yeah. I consciously tried to move my sales outside of Amazon. I believe it was the beginning of this year, the end of last year. And it was so difficult, primarily because of the amount of data that I have access to on Amazon from, reviews and the content, and, listings that are built correctly have really good information in the A+ and the photos and stuff like that. And I'm so used to having all that information that when I was shopping on Walmart or on a Shopify site or something, I'd be jumping back over to Amazon to look up the product to see what the reviews were and stuff like that. And so that effort kind of faded away over a month or two.
And do you trust reviews on Amazon more or less than somebody's website?
More, because I feel like Amazon at least attempts to not manipulate them, where other people's sites, I believe they're probably all manipulated for the most part.
Yeah, hands down. And the only thing that is manipulated with Amazon reviews is the Chinese who come in and write -1-star reviews on my listings en masse. And we know there's groups over there that are literally paid services to go do that. So
Oh, yeah.
I wish Amazon would shut that crap down.
Or the new listings that suddenly have 4,000 reviews like a week later.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
the
all
merger.
5-star.
Oh yeah, definitely wasn't hijacked by the Chinese on that one either.
Yeah. I mean, that's where they need to employ AI. Like I was talking about this hijacker on our listing. Anybody who looks at it can tell it's a hijacker. You click to their store and they're selling like 400 different products. They're all private label products that have never had another seller, and they're all like half or 1/3 the price it's always been. It's like,
and the seller has,
you need better evidence that they're
review.
selling knockoffs. I don't know what it is. Take it down. I mean, that's something that AI should be able to recognize easily and take care of. But
anything a human can recognize, an AI should do it bigger and faster.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
For sure. I mean, that's an area.
However,
send the AI bots out there and let's take care of it. But
I don't envy my kids who have to go through school and have AI detectors used against them, because AI detectors are failing at detecting other AI. So,
yeah, for sure. They're going to have to adjust. I mean, you're going to have to just encourage them to use AI and teach them how to use it effectively and verify that the data that it's giving you is actually correct and not biased.
How many R's are in strawberry? Yeah.
How many what?
How many R's are in strawberry?
Does it get that wrong?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Very publicly.
Yeah, I did actually the other day. I don't remember what I was researching, but I asked ChatGPT, what's the highest point in every state? And the first result that we had like 44 states. And then I said, there's 50 states. And then there was like 54 and there was repeats and stuff. And I'm like, okay.
I think they've been visiting Colorado a little too much, if you get my drift.
Yeah, perhaps. It's definitely not perfect. You got to be careful with AI.
Now, were some of the states in the 54, were they really cities, or were they like, Ontario?
No, they were all states.
The government's plans for expansion have been leaked through AI.
Yeah. But it would just repeat states or leave some states out and repeat others. And it never got to 50. Like, I'm telling you there's 50, but you still can't get to 50. I don't know. Okay.
Too many tokens.
All right, guys, we are over the hour here, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. But I appreciate everybody out there joining us. We've got some good chat and people commenting, so that is awesome to see. But every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific, we'll be on here. So hopefully you'll join us next week as well. Stephen Pope, my Amazon guy, Kevin Sanderson, Maximizing E-commerce. I appreciate you guys coming on the show today.
Happy to be here. And if you guys still want more, the My Amazon Guy Live is starting now. Just click over that channel.
There we go.
We'll see you guys.
Have a good one, everybody.